Last month on my no views but still going video, I shared my progress on 5 life pillars: physical health, psychological health, emotional resilience, cognitive abilities, and spiritual health. I am going to talk about, just like I did there, I'm going to talk about my honest progress, the wins, the setbacks, and what I've learned about myself. So let's talk about the easiest one first: physical health. So, first thing, my weight update. My weight has not changed at all. Of course, I would love for it to have dropped, but this doesn't really discourage me because I'm a scientist and I know about body composition, I know about weight loss, I know about how the cells work, the pathways work. Numbers on a scale really don't mean a whole lot. They're nice to see, but it's not the whole picture. I can feel the change in my body and I can see the change in my body. I am probably 20 pounds heavier than would be a good weight for me. And it could be menopause, it could be all kinds of things. I have got some health issues, but I do believe that spiritually, when I'm aligned with who I really am, that weight will go away. I can't explain more than that. It really is just a feeling. Pain management. This is really big. And I really think I should be more grateful for this and I should think about it more. But this is the nature of pain. When it's not there, you don't think about it. But I do remember the amount of pain I felt every single day. It was a constant chronic pain every time I moved, and that pain has decreased significantly. So right now, I don't feel any pain. That's kind of magical. Huge wins. Mobility, there are noticeable improvements in my mobility and flexibility. So what I noticed is like getting out of the bath. That would be getting into and out of the bathtub would almost be scary. Like I'd be really cautious about sitting down. And when I had my bath this morning, yeah, like I still felt the pain when I was bending down and I did like fall into the tub a little bit, but it is so much more reduced. It's almost manageable now. I don't take painkillers nearly as much for it. So this is a huge win. I mentioned that I'm going to the gym usually 5 times a week. Um, I'll talk about that a bit more in psychological health because that's a big reason for going to the gym. Sleep scores. I love the Apple Watch for this. Um, my sleep scores are consistently good. I did go to bed late last night and I got like a 68 and it's out of 100. 68 is like okay, but I do try and go for 90. I'm pretty sure that tonight I won't get a great one either because I've got so much caffeine in me. I love tea and coffee. I did stop drinking coffee before around 5 o'clock today. I didn't have that many cups today, but tea, I love tea and I'll drink it until I go to bed. So I gotta, when I make these videos late, I keep drinking tea. So I gotta start making them earlier. And the last metric is my VO2 max. So this is like reflective of your cardiovascular health. So the VO2 max has gone down, which is bad. So my VO2 max now is below average. When I was swimming in the summer, it was above average, and I was so proud of myself. I know that my cardiovascular health is better now than it was when I was swimming. Even though I was swimming probably every day, the amount of cardiovascular work I'm doing at the gym and how I notice my body responding to that exercise is consistent with improved cardiovascular health. So I'd love the VO2 max to reflect that. But the Apple Watch is just an estimate. I don't really fancy going and having the test done, but the proper test done for VO2 max. I'm going to choose to believe what I know to be true for me, that my fitness, my physical fitness is improving. I'll continue to track the VO2 max. but I'm not going to fixate on it. So let's talk about psychological health. This month has been tough. My psychological health has taken a bit of a hit. And that's why going to the gym has been something that I've stuck into consistently. Like I make myself go to the gym. Like I know objectively that movement, physical exercise will improve my psychological health. And that's been a godsend. Like I'm so glad for that because I can go there and know that I'm doing something healthy, something good for myself. I've just had a low mood. I wouldn't say it's like a deep depression. I've been there, and it's not the same as that. But the low mood making me want to stay in bed all the time and kind of give up on things, that's been almost like a constant. And I guess I'll talk a bit more about that in the next section, emotional resilience. But it's important to note that here that this month has been low for me. A big piece of my low mood and my poor psychological health has been my constant questioning of my decision to return to work. I'm going to read this because this is like a really difficult thing to talk about, and I think I'll just like get stuck on my words. So, this feels like an ongoing internal conflict about my decision to keep working towards returning to my position when I'm ready. I can understand the perspective of my family doctor and some friends who really advise against this. But keeping my position is the decision that feels right to me. I've got to avoid questioning this repeatedly because it's draining my energy and I need that energy to get better. I realized how true this was when this morning I reaffirmed that decision by telling my husband, I am going back to work. At the end of this leave, I believe I will be well enough to return to my position. I'm going to work really hard to get myself there because I feel like that is the right thing for me. It feels right. And I question it because I respect the view of my physician and some of my friends. And I know that the workplace is not healthy. And I know that the job can be stressful. But that job is so important. And I know I have more left to give. My first video in a really long time because my live stream cut off in the middle last night again. So we're going to move on to number 3, which is my emotional resilience. When the internet connection dropped yesterday, I felt that considering it was late at night, I handled it fairly well. I didn't get really angry. I did get a little bit blamey with the kids using the Wi-Fi. But that's something that is a normal reaction. But what I was able to do is recognize that emotion and just recognizing the emotion as it came up and questioning it. Like, is it really the kids' fault this happened? Do you know that they're on using all the Wi-Fi, that there's no other reason the connection could have dropped? Is that thought helpful? Is that thought true? Because that thought certainly is affecting your emotional state, and you don't make good choices in that emotional state. Going through that process, which is a new neural pathway for me, really helped me to diffuse the emotion and to, in fact, carry on and do another 10 plus minutes of recording after that and finish my video. So that is a huge win for me. I have been working really hard on understanding emotion and trying to unpack it so that it doesn't the same things don't keep happening. It's a long process, and emotional dysregulation is something which affects me on a daily basis. In fact, every day when I wake up, it's like I'm on an emotional roller coaster. I don't know how I'm going to feel when I wake up, because since I have been going through this season of my life where I am emotionally dysregulated, I've been having some very upsetting dreams. The memories and thoughts that come up in my dreams really dysregulate me. So when I wake up, I have like remnants of those memories or remnants of those thoughts which are affecting the emotion that I have. I'm really good at recognizing that and taking control over my thoughts again, and choosing to have gratitude, be grateful for the things around me, for the people around me, for the life that I've built for myself, and to use those things to determine the emotions that I am going to display that day. And that has a huge difference, a huge impact on the day that I'm going to have. Obviously, thoughts come up all the time in the brain, a lot of automatic negative thoughts, ants, that a lot of people talk about, that can really derail you. But with the skills that I'm building on handling my thoughts and being intentional with my thoughts and which ones I'm going to hold on to and how I'm going to respond to those thoughts, that has helped me to have better emotional control. I did want to talk about my negative thought patterns. I have recognized a number of really deep running negative thought patterns. And the biggest one of those is that I don't trust my ability to support my family, to perform the tasks that an adult needs to perform. And those thoughts often create an emotional response. And those thoughts are mean and often untrue. I do believe they're untrue, but there's always evidence in my head to show me, Jenny, you took the wrong turn there. You can't even drive. You come here every day. Why did you take that turn? You probably shouldn't even be on the road. Why can't you pay the bills on time? Why do you put things off, very basic things off, and not do them because you feel like you can't? All those things are like on a loop in my head. And I guess I wasn't really as mindful of those negative thought patterns as I need to be, to interrupt them and take control back over my life. It makes me upset that I thought those things. So recognizing that those are thought patterns that are bringing me down is helpful in breaking those patterns and taking control back and choosing how I'm going to work through those things. Moving on to cognitive abilities. So emotional resilience and cognitive dysfunction are the primary reasons why I'm not working right now. My position, my job, highly leans on my ability to maintain my a cool emotional state and to have good cognitive abilities. I would really love to be able to have an objective scale where I could measure my cognitive abilities, but because brain scans are not something which are typically done when you're having cognitive issues, I'm not going to know exactly which areas of my brain are affected by my experiences, by the things I've been through. So I can't work that way. I can't look at those areas and work on those areas. So I'm actually just giving myself grace in those areas and trusting the process that I am recovering. I'm taking these steps to get better. I am doing the work. When I have a doctor's appointment or a specialist appointment, they do give me DSM-5 questionnaires to measure my day-to-day experiences that would indicate how well I'm doing with recovery through either depression, through the PHQ-9 questionnaire, anxiety through the GAD-7 questionnaire, or PTSD through the PCL-5 questionnaire. The fact that I've remembered those 3 things is objective evidence that my cognitive abilities are improving, particularly when I'm well regulated. Thank you, Ellen Langer. So although I am still caught up on a daily basis and the barriers are there every day, knowing that I still have that ability in me is huge progress for me. And the last point is spiritual health. I mentioned in my first update that when I went to my first psychiatric visit, I was speaking a lot about my spiritual awakening, I guess. I've always believed in a higher power. I've been to church a few times throughout my life and felt something in that setting and felt comforted. And I do believe that there is a higher power out there, but I'm not sure that I buy into like any one religion. So I'm more of a spiritual person where I believe that there is something out there, but not necessarily observe it the way that other people would. And I've read a few times, and then most recently listening to the podcast from Dr. Daniel Amen, religious people who have that belief actually have better brain health. And he attributes it to positivity, something bigger than a person, something to believe in, something to look to and lean on, gives people a more positive experience, a more positive outlook on life. And being positive or being less negative and having something bigger to believe in, I've actually shown on brain scans that I think it's the prefrontal cortex, was healthier than those of people who did not believe in anything and had a negative bias. And that brain health, the prefrontal cortex is involved in much better decision making, but also when you have damage to your prefrontal cortex, it can increase the chance of you having dementia. And that is an awful thing to suffer with in the later years. So I'm going to hold on to this spiritual side of me and continue to explore that and to enjoy the benefits of having that spiritual part of me. Spirituality isn't about religion for me. It's about having that framework where things are bigger than just you, and there is a higher power and things will work out the way that they're meant to work out. And that is a really positive belief to have. This last month has been a hard month for me. I would say harder than the month prior to that. I would say most days I've had low mood, and it's been a fight to not go back to bed, to not just give up and stop trying hard to regain my emotional resilience, to maintain my psychological and physical health, and to keep working on my cognitive abilities. It always seems like there's an easier way that I could take, where I could just hide myself and just go within myself and be small and not recover from this and just live a life where I just shrink myself. I know I don't want to do that, but the low mood makes it very difficult to take the higher road. But I am happy to say that I have taken that higher road every day. And a big reason for me being successful with that is going to the gym as often as I do. The movement, the feeling of accomplishment when I actually get there and do the workout that's hard for me physically, and to get through that emotional barrier of not wanting to do everything. When I come out, I feel like my life has meaning. I would really love to hear from my audience about your journey. What's going on for you right now? Are you struggling with the same things? What is going on in your life? How can I help with that? Is this enough? Is me sharing my experiences and sharing my progress and the strategies that I'm using to work through this, is this enough for you? It was enough for me listening to other people talk about their experiences and how they were moving through it. That's what got me into the resources that I've used to help me get where I am now. I would not have known about Dr. Caroline Leave, Dr. Ellen Langer that I've just mentioned in this podcast that I've just mentioned in this video without hearing other people's experiences. Mel Robbins, like, she has a huge following, a huge podcast, and she has been through some awful difficulties, and that was inspirational for me. And without hearing her story and how bad things were for her and the massive turnaround that she's made, I don't know that I'd be sitting here doing this myself. But you tell me what you need to hear, and I'll tell you. I'm good at being vulnerable. I'm good at sharing the truth. I know those things. So you tell me what you need to hear and I'll share it. The last thing I'm going to say is I'm really committed to this work. I am going to keep showing up. Every week there are going to be videos, and every month there is going to be the update until I feel that I'm no longer growing, and that will be a really sad day because we all have something to learn and we can always do better. So thanks for listening. I'm Jen. This is JenXValues. It's so hard to do this. Why is this so hard? I can do hard things. I am pushing through the uncomfortable feeling that I have right now. I don't feel like that was good, but it doesn't have to be good. I'm on a life transformation. Like, I am actively changing my life and I feel it.